Greetings and welcome to this, the 7th episode of the Lingering Nightmares video game devlog. In this video we'll show you the new 3D models that we created and incorporated to our scene, as well as the new textures we draw to improve the ambience of the game, and the new dynamic we'll be implementing to update our game's progress in social media. All of this coming up next. Greetings and welcome to the 7th episode of our devlog. Let's review this week's progress, which was mostly visual progress for the game setting, as well as new 3D models that we updated in our test scene. So now let's see what's new. We now have these new models. Instead of the cylinders that we had previously, we have a large floor fire pit and also an elongated one in the shape of a torch. We also created these wall burners. We need to include some pieces of wood or logs to make them look a little more realistic, because they look very empty for the moment. I'm going to include that for next week. But we've already updated these models and they work just like the previous ones, with all our interactions and combustion codes. We can use them to ignite our equipped items, or if our equipped items are already lit, we can use them to ignite the burners. They have the same functionality, we only got the models updated. We also updated the torch model so that it no longer burns at the end we are grabbing, only burns at the far end, and for the moment we put a 1 minute burning time for testing purposes. So each of these items will offer some versatility, certain benefits and drawbacks to offer the player, and variety on how to deal with the puzzles or the game itself, how to play it, with different types of items and different tools. For example, with this torch, the benefit of these sticks is that this will be a much more common item than any other of our light sources, such as the oil lamp and the flashlight. A benefit is that you will be able to find these pretty much just lying around. It is a much more accessible item. And another benefit is that we can use it to ignite other objects while lit. We can use it to ignite our burners or other flammable items. Being a common item, we can drop it on the floor, leave it behind to illuminate some areas, but the drawbacks will be that its duration will be the least of all our light sources. Right now it only lasts a minute, which is not final, but it works fine for testing purposes. And as the duration time runs out, the intensity of the light and the particles that it has will get reduced. As it keeps burning, the torch's usefulness will decrease. Here we can see the comparison. In the last seconds, the lighting is almost zero, so it's barely useful at this time. That would be one of its drawbacks, along with its duration and the area it illuminates, which is also the smallest area of any of our light sources, but it would be the most common option in the game. The next option is going to be the oil lamp. These will have a longer burning time. At the moment we have not put a duration, but eventually it will have a duration of about 3 minutes, which we will test these times in real gameplay, but it should be a much longer duration than the common torches. Also, its lighting area is much larger. It also uses a point light, which is a radial lighting area. And just like the torch, since it uses fire, we will continue to have the feature that if with this oil lamp we touch some flammable object, we can use it to ignite them. It offers you the utility of the common torch to be able to solve puzzles and ignite burners with it, but unlike the torch, you will not be able to throw it. If we grab the torch and we use our action button corresponding to the arm, depending on how long we press the button to a maximum of 3 seconds, we can throw it at a greater distance. Or if we press and hold the button for less than 3 seconds, the distance will be shorter. Or if you start to throw it and you change your mind, you can cancel the action as long as you release the action button before the first second. At least that's how it works for the moment. If you want to cancel the throw, it has to be within and before the first second passes. This oil lamp is not going to offer you that benefit of being able to ignite objects from a distance, or if you don't want to approach an obscured area and want to inspect it from afar, you can throw out these torches to reveal it without approaching, which will be nice if you suspect that there's a threat in the area. And being a common item, it is much easier to dispose several torches for this purpose. With the oil lamp, this is not going to be viable. Instead, you're going to be able to use it to inspect more thoroughly with the action button in the areas in your vicinity. Those are going to be the benefits you're going to have with that lamp, and even if you can throw it, you can still place it somewhere in particular, so that, just as a torch, to keep an area lit. Finally, we have the regular flashlight that uses batteries, which is the light source that allows you to illuminate objects at the furthest distance. Just like with the oil lamp, you won't be able to throw it, but you can use it to inspect areas a little further away. It will also have the longest duration. For the moment we haven't specified, but it will be around 5 minutes, almost twice as much as the oil lamp. We will have the benefit of the distance, but the drawback is that although the distance is greater, here we use a spotlight. We will only be able to illuminate a tighter area directly in front of us, and we will not have visibility of our surroundings or behind us. Another drawback is that we can't use the flashlight to ignite other flammable objects because we don't have any flame with us. As with the other options, we can place it on the floor so that it continues to illuminate, but being a spotlight, it would not work as conveniently as if we were handling it. This will be our lighting options for the moment, and we've already implemented all our functionality with this new model. Something I also worked on this week was in returning to draw textures, which was something I've been postponing for far too long, because it still takes me way too long and I still don't get the desired results. For example, this texture still needs seamless borders, so I'm going to have to draw this one again, but I'm glad to be creating visual elements to start tuning the settings and atmospheric elements of the game. which is a really important aspect of this project, to work hard in getting the correct atmosphere in our horror game. And also, what we started this week is to post our daily progress or on updating whatever we're working on daily on Twitter. So if you're interested in following our progress a little more closely, you can now also follow the Twitter account that we put in the description of the video. We are already posting progress almost every day, which forces us to move forward a little faster on the project and gives us the benefit that we can receive feedback on our new ideas in real time. On that side, it's a very practical tool, so if it's of interest, we put it at your disposal. Ellie kept working on adjusting our interaction codes and also has been working on the behavior of our enemies, which is something I want to ask your opinion on, because we don't know whether or not to shade the behavior or the creation process of our enemies due to the theme of the game. An appeal of the Lovecraftian theme games or stories is the element of mystery, or the fact that the presence or threats that our characters or the viewer deal with is beyond their comprehension, keeping as a constant that unknown that is what is really lurking beyond. So if we reveal these details in our devlog, one may lose a bit of that appeal. But at the same time, these are interesting parts of the process of making the game, so it may be of interest for you, our audience, that we share that information. If you have any opinions on this matter, I will be very grateful if you share them in the comments about whether or not you want to see the details of the creature we'll be making backstage. But that's what Ellie's been working on and what she'll keep working on for the next few days, because the AI and the enemy behavior is something that we find still quite complicated, so we want to spend the time necessary for it to be in the best possible state, and that's what we might show in the following videos depending on your comments. For our part, it will be all about this week's devlog. We thank you very much for staying with us until the end of the video. If you like the content or if you find it interesting, we invite you to like the video or subscribe if you want to stay informed about our next devlogs. And having said that, we wish you, as always, to have an excellent weekend and a lot of success in your projects.